It's your favorite YouTube dealer. I appreciate you guys for stopping in. We got something today from Dax. It's called From a Man's Perspective. I'm genuinely interested to hear what this song is going to be about. I'm a little bit late on this and pretty much everything that you're going to see me drop probably over the next couple of days because it's been like a 4-day bout with the flu. And I lost that shit. That shit beat my ass, without a doubt. It's been a rough one. And I think I'm at like 4 hours of sleep in the last 4 days. So, I'm proud of myself to be awake and be here today. So let's just dive into this. Let's see what my man was cooking with on this one. Gotta have that pickup truck. Otherwise, it ain't a man's perspective, right? How many people own, just real quick question, any guys that are watching this, how many of you own a truck? It doesn't have to be a pickup truck, but like own a truck. I remember when I was younger, at one point I wanted a truck. I don't even remember why I wanted a truck, but there was like a very specific truck. I can't remember what it was now because I'm not really a car guy, but somebody had presented it to me and I was like, yo, that's kind of dope. Like it wasn't like a really big one or anything like that. But as I've gotten older, like I'll drive anything. What like Prius? Like at one point I think the Prius was like one of the best on like gas mileage. So I've got the thought in my head now where I'm like, yo, whatever has the best gas mileage is gonna save me the most money. I'm here for that. That's all I want. Anything that's gonna eat more gas, y'all keep that shit. I don't want nothing to do with it.
I don't know why you're making such a big deal about it. Stop acting like a bitch.
That's a wild statement.
You don't call somebody out of their name like that if you don't respect them. Don't start approaching me. I already told you. Don't start approaching me. Then I'll leave then. Then I'll leave. Then I'll leave then.
I'm gonna be real. If you're in a relationship where shit like that is getting said, you just need to get out of that relationship. I know it's not easy to do, especially if you living together. You at a point where it's like you've spent so much time together, you've connected your lives in certain ways, and then you also probably still care about that person. As much as you get mad, you're gonna miss them, and you start to perceive that as something more than what it actually is, right? Like it's just that's normal life. Like you're gonna miss anything that goes away. Even sometimes shit that's not the greatest for you is just become a constant in your life. And that constant feels like it's a comfort zone, but it's not really a comfort zone. It's just familiarity. You know what I mean? And in all reality, going through that change and being in a more uncomfortable situation where you're losing some of these things you're used to in your life can really end up better for you. Pull out that Dax vinyl. It's a nice little plug too.
I thought we were forever. That was a mistake. You wrote it down in pencil. Guess it got erased. Drawing on my weakness. Look what you create. A masterpiece of everything you taught yourself to hate. I had to log off. Your passwords changed. You always tried to run. I wasn't down to chase. Your trauma made you numb. I tried to give you faith. You took my kindness and threw it right back in my face.
Okay, I already like this right from the jump. Yo, he's gonna cook on this one. This whole song about to be legit.
Thought we were forever. That was a mistake. You wrote it down in pencil. Guess it got erased. Drawing on my weakness. Look what you create. A masterpiece of everything you taught yourself to hate. I had to log off.
I like that too. Drawing on my weakness. Look what you create. A masterpiece. Yo, Dak's writing has been so good over the last like year or so that we've been checking out his music. I got to give him mad props for that. Like the writing has leveled up insanely since the first time I heard him say 5 years ago at this point. Yeah, 5, maybe even 6 at this point. Because like I feel like his writing wasn't necessarily bad back then, but it was more so like he used the singing at times and shit, and like he had a really good sound, his voice, all that kind of stuff. But the writing has just leveled up. I'll let him cook now. I'll let him cook.
I thought we were forever. That was a mistake. You wrote it down in pencil. Guess it got erased. Drawing on my weakness. Look what you create. A masterpiece of everything you taught yourself to hate. I had to log off. Your passwords changed. You always tried to run. I wasn't down to chase.
I'm sorry. I couldn't let him cook. I had to log off. Your passwords changed, but your past words changed. Like he's playing with this might be one of the best written things I've heard from him yet.
Had to log off. Your passwords changed. You always tried to run. I wasn't down to chase. Your trauma made you numb. I tried to give you faith. You took my kindness and threw it right back in my face. Ashamed to say I loved you and it hurts me because I actually tried. Your truth was based off of lies. Your love was conditional and mine forgave you multiple times. That's why I had to finally walk away. It hurt me to leave, but was killing me to stay. The story of my life, this chapter and page is getting ripped out and thrown in emotional flames. To be honest, I don't hate you, this is my only way to grieve. What you want isn't always what you need. I remember days I'd beg and I'd plead for you to just calm down and provide me with peace. Your words used to hurt me, they would bring me to my knees. Called me pathetic, trash, weak. So I got strong, got back on my feet, picked you up off the sidewalk, threw you back to the streets. I don't wanna talk about those times that you lied. Don't wanna talk about those times that I cried. Don't wanna talk about those times you denied all the truths that I spewed that I knew deep inside. The pressure I was feeling that was right up to my neck. The anxiety, depression that was weighing on my chest. The constant allegations, the blatant disrespect. The time that I lost or the money that I spent. I was going crazy, I was a shell of a man. Trapped in your cage, lost in your maze. Blinded by love, addicted to the pain. The highs and the lows, the storm and the rain. I started therapy to cope because you drove me insane. Gassed me right up, then emptied my tank. So don't you try to spin the block when you see I'm doing greater. That I'm happy or I got another woman in your place. Because I gave you too many chances to understand that pain sounds different when it's coming from a man. We not allowed to feel, be real, explain, express. And when we do, we lose the upper hand. We only have value based on what we can provide.
Yo, that's so true. And in all reality, some of it is men's fault. You know what I'm saying? It's like we've created this weird cycle amongst ourselves where it's like it makes us seem lesser if we're too emotional, if we show too much of how we feel and stuff like that. But a lot of that comes from the fact that we as men will get on other men for that exact reason, right? But then you go through something and you want someone to understand, and or you were just raised in a way where like you hide that shit. You hide that shit because growing up, that's the way that you always were thought that it worked, or taught that it worked, I should say. And not even necessarily like someone sitting you down and telling you it, but just watching it happen, right? Like watching what might happen with like your own father or with other adult males that you'll see that when you're a kid and you're just kind of taking in the world still and just learning how things work as you grow up, right? Like it's really interesting, like just watching movies, TV shows, different shit like that. Like there's just certain things that you don't really think much about, but like as a kid, like you're subconsciously taking in a lot of this stuff, and it kind of helps you understand the way that you're supposed to act, how you're supposed to move forward, how you're supposed to handle certain situations. And in reality, like we kind of have put ourselves in a spot. Now, are there also women that will hate on men because they're like, oh my God, he's too soft, or oh, if a man, like I remember seeing people on Twitter, and these are the goofy women, don't get me wrong, but they're like, oh, if my man cried, I'd probably leave him. Like, bitch, what? I think there was one girl, and I feel like this had to be a troll, but I don't remember seeing anything saying that it was in the comments or anything. But you know, people be posting anything on Twitter for likes and views and shit. So it could have been, but like, I'm not surprised if it wasn't. And it was a girl saying something like maybe a family member of her man died, like his mom or something, whatever. And then he cried. And so she's like, well, I don't see him the same way anymore. What is wrong with you? Like, what, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are we actually talking about? That's the goofiest shit that I ever done heard in my entire life. But that's the perception that has kind of been pushed out there. And it's almost an unspoken thing that maybe in the past it was kind of spoken on, but then it just became a thing where guys just, we don't show all this emotion. We don't show all this extra stuff. And sometimes it's for reasons outside of feeling like we're not supposed to, but it's more so like I need to be the strong one in this situation, because it's always been acceptable for women to be more emotional and to share their feelings and to break down if they need to. And then you feel as the man, like it's my job to kind of go in. And as much as I might feel very similarly to you, I want to help build you back up. And so I'm going to hold mine in, and I'm not going to make you feel like this is hopeless, because if I cry, we cry, you know what I mean? We cry together or whatever. But yeah, and you know what I mean? Like if I'm there and I'm telling you it's going to be okay, I know this is hard, and I'm like, I'm being that strong shoulder for you to cry. And that's that thought process, right? But it subconsciously pushes a certain narrative, and that shit starts to stick. And then when you do need that moment, you can't really have it.
Trapped in your cage, lost in your maze, blinded by love, addicted to the pain, the highs and and the lows, the storm and the rain. I started therapy to cope because you drove me insane. Gassed me right up, then emptied my tank. So don't you try to spin the block when you see I'm doing greater, that I'm happy or I got another woman in your place, because I gave you too many chances to understand that pain sounds different when it's coming from a man. We not allowed to feel, be real, explain, express, and when we do, we lose the upper hand. We only have value based on what we can provide. I spoke your love language, you didn't understand mine. You pushed me to the edge, played like you were blind, and then you blamed all of your actions on your zodiac sign.
That is a fact. Bro, that zodiac sign shit mad goofy. Mad goofy. I hate when, because listen, first of all, I'm a Gemini. And I feel like women that believe in that zodiac shit, Geminis immediately, we get thrown under the bus. I don't even know why. Because I don't follow none of that shit. But I'm just like, that's the dumbest shit in the world. That the month I was born somehow is going to change the way that you perceive me. Get the fuck out of here, you goofy.
Never again.
No offense to anybody that likes astrology and stuff. But I've had that put on me before, and I felt some type of way because I'm like, I remember it was some girl that I didn't even know. I'm like, yo, you've not even had a conversation with me, and you've already labeled me based on my astrological sign. I just feel like that's not right. I don't feel like that's right. I think that's wrong, and I would never do that to somebody. That just seems weird. So no offense, but that's just the way I feel about that. But I like how he said, I learned your love language, you didn't learn mine, or something like that. Like this whole song, this might be one of my favorite songs that he's done in quite a long time, and I think it's something that a lot of guys can relate with, and a lot of guys might not even admit that they relate with, or that they feel like this is some shit that needs to be heard, because again, mentality is we're not supposed to be emotional and stuff. We're supposed to and then you're gonna have some guys that are gonna listen to this song and be like, Dax is just soft. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just wants to cry and da-da-da. And like, that's why we just keep in this damn loop. This loop just never ends. Anyways, let me know what you guys thought down below. I appreciate you guys. I think this will drop today, which is New Year's Eve. So hope you guys enjoy your New Year's Eve. Be safe. Don't get crazy out there. At this point, starting your New Year's resolution tomorrow is the normal time to start it. If this video came out earlier, I would have told you start now. Never wait and tell yourself, oh, on this day, I'm going to make these changes, because I'm telling you right now, the percentage of you sticking with it is lower when you do that. I promise you it is. Because when you have it in your mind that you want to make this change, but then you try to give yourself this future date, because, like you're playing a game, and that game doesn't always work out in your favor. And it might. It does for some people, but I think that I've found with other people I know and with myself that usually when you have that mindset of making a change, just make it that day. At most, you could wait a day. Like, okay, tomorrow I'm gonna start. But I think even then, you playing a tricky game. I think that you got to start that moment. So hopefully, everybody that has anything they want to change will make that shit happen starting tomorrow, or again starting today, and go from there. So take it easy, stay safe. I'll catch you in the next one, homies.